So as you can see, I have a completely empty project here in Bubble, and I am going to create a new project in Teseron Studio as well by going here to this create new project command. I'm gonna call it task list. When I'm inside my project, I can create my first table, which let's be a table of tasks. I'm gonna enable this to the API, and I'm going to create my fields. First field, let's be title of the task. It's gonna be type of string, REST API enabled, add a column, and another column will be let's say description, also a string, also enabled to the API. Then I would like to assign some kind of a priority. So for that, I'm going to create another table, call it priority, and I'm gonna REST API enable it. And I'm gonna use just one column. It's gonna be label. It's gonna be a type of string, REST API enabled, and I'm going to add my values as well. I'm gonna add a data. I'm gonna add a first row, which is gonna be a low priority. Then I'm gonna add major priority, and then I'm gonna add critical priority. And you know what, even this low, let's rename it to minor, right? Sounds better. So we have three possible priorities. And now if I go back to my task management, I can say that I want priority as a field, and it's going to be a table reference to my priority table, and it can be only a single priority. Okay, so now we have these two tables. What I can do before I jump into Bubble Editor, I can create a couple of rows here. Here I'm going to make the video a little bit faster, so you don't need to see how I create all these rows. Okay, so now I have here 3 entries. I can go jump to Bubble, and I can start to build out my list. So I go to Bubble. I'm going to add a repeating group. So now I want to access my task table via API, because I want to be able to list out these entries in Bubble. So I hit this API info icon, and I'm going to choose the list operation. And I'm not going to change anything here just yet. I'm going to just grab this API URL. I'm going to back to my Bubble project, and here I need to add a plugin. This is this API connector by Bubble. This is where we are going to create our APIs. I hit new API, and I'm going to call it tasks. I'm going to expand this API call, and I'm going to call this get tasks. And here I'm going to paste my API URL, and I'm going to initialize the call. As you can see, the call is successful. Now I can read my tasks, although I cannot see my priority label, only the priority ID, which means that I probably need to add the priority information as well, because I can see which priority is associated to a certain task, but I'm not able to list out the label of the priority. So I can save this, but I'm going to back to Teseron Studio and I'm going to see if I can include priority. As you can see here, I can take this little icon and now I have included the priority. And now if I grab this, I'm going back to Bubble and I replace this URL with a new one. I reinitialize the call. Now, as you can see, I can see the priority ID as well as the priority label, because now I am including also the information from the other table, from the table that is associated with the task table. So I'm going to save this. And now I can go back to my design and I can start to build this out. So the type of content of this repeating group is going to be get tasks. This is my API that I just configured, and the data source is going to be get data from external API. The API provider is tasks, get tasks. That's the only one actually that we have available there, and we just close it. That's it. Now we need to fill up the repeating group, so I will add a text, and this text is going to be the current cells get tasks task title. Now I'm going to add another text. This is going to be the description, and the third text finally is going to be the priorities, but not ID, but the priorities label, right? What I will do with all of these three texts, I'm gonna hit column container. So I'm basically grouping these three texts, and I'm gonna make a little bit of beautifying here now. So now I'm going to again speed up the video so you don't have to watch how I do this beautifying work. Okay, so now we have this this repeating group that shows us 4 tasks. So I can preview this, and as you can see, we basically listed out 3 tasks that we have here in Teseron Studio. It has a title, description, and a priority. What we can now try to do, if we go back to Teseron Studio, we can push this even a little bit further. If we want to be able to filter within the tasks, we can say contains title value. By this we're saying that if something from the title contains this value that's going to be here, then display that task. Now this filter is added into my URL, so I can grab this URL, I can go back to my bubble editor, and I can again just replace this URL, paste it in, and as you can see, it created this parameter for me. I can untick this private and I can reinitialize the call. Now what this did, it created a parameter for me. Here you don't see any change, so if I save this, my list is gonna work as it worked before without any problem. It's just now when I go to my repeating group and I click this get task, I have this path available, and I can use this to filter or to basically search in my repeating group. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an input above the repeating group. I'm going to center it, and I'm going to say, when I click on the repeating group, that I want this repeating group to be filtered by insert dynamic data, by this input A's value. And what I just did is I told the repeating group that if something is in this input, then filter these tasks for me. So now if I close this, I'm going to just very quickly add a little bit of a top margin here. And I'm also going to remove this gap, or I will just make it 10 pixels because we don't need that big. And now if I go to my preview page, I can start to type and it filters inside the repeating group. If I go away, right? So I just created a repeating group that is searchable by title. I can do the same with the description. So that's it for now. In the next video, we can explore how to add a task, how to remove a task, how to manipulate these tasks further. Thank you.